then I'm going to start it again, and I'm going to turn this over to troublemaker Susie Briscoe, who is, Annika, thank you so much for your wonderful tips, and I really appreciate that. And please hang out a little longer. We've got a panel discussion we're going to do with all the speakers, and we want to hear from you as well. Susie Briscoe, who is a troublemaker from the UK.
I don't know what you mean. I really don't know what you mean.
And so,
thank you, Annika, darling.
Right. And so I'm gonna mute myself, and I'm gonna go off camera. And Susie, you have a half an hour. Teach us what you know.
Thank you. Thank you so much for inviting me to be with you today. I'm not so sure about that now, Tony. And I'm honored to be one of the guest speakers on your Writers Circle Global Virtual Conference. I'm so excited to be here, especially because I actually finished writing my first solo book, yay, only 4 days ago at 2 minutes to 7 p.m. I mean, it was so magical. I had to capture the moment. So how is that for timing and relevance? I'm already a contributing author of 4 #1 international best-selling books, but this is my first solo book, which is entirely different. It's called Color Your Legacy, Paint the Canvas of Your Perfect Life. And it's now with my publisher and will be launched in May, I believe, this year. It still has time to go breach in the birth canal, however. But moving on. How did it feel to push the send button on my manuscript? Probably scarier. It should have been scarier than it actually did. But at that moment, I was just so relieved to have it finished as the deadline was fast approaching. So I pushed all fear to one side and just did it, just like the L'Oreal slogan. So for the next 30 minutes, I'm going to be talking with you about this whole experience. So I'd like to suggest you turn off all other distractions, such as your email, mobile, Facebook, or any other social media, that you're really present, so that you're really present during my talk, as well as having a pen and paper, perhaps, to make notes as we work our way through. So just to recap, as Tony said, my name is Susie Briscoe. I'm the founding chair of acercoachingassociates.com, and I'm known as an international business, lifestyle, and legacy strategist. For the last 14 plus years, I've been working with international clients from literally all around the world, helping them discover their own bliss by contributing in some way to the world in which they live. My personal passion is legacy. My mission is to help business leaders and professionals find rainbows within their lives, enabling them to go from living a life of success to a life of significance. I'm guessing that everyone here today is wanting to write a book, not just any book. This book is going to be of great significance. To you personally, it's your big decision. You've selected your subject and have researched anything that you feel to be of relevance. You know that your market is wanting to hear what you have to say, and you believe that your book will make a difference in some way to your reader. You've decided that you have relevance in your chosen marketplace. So what else might be helpful to consider? Things I'd want to look at in taking you through the steps of these 7 things, important things, start with step 1, your why. What's the reason behind your decision? And step 2, strategizing your book. Step 3, excavating your story. Step 4, maximizing the market. Step 5, making your mark on the world. Step 6 would be generating revenue as an author, but I've got a feeling that Tony's going to cut me off because I might be going over time. And the step 7 would be fulfilling your big vision. So I do hope this sounds interesting. And Tony has said to me, keep it simple, which I will turn into KISS by adding another S, K-I-S-S. And the last S stands for sweetheart. So let's see how far I can get before he does call time on me. Okay, firstly, how to master the 4 levels of transformation to write, publish, and market your greatest book. Every great transformational book and every great transformational business begins with a personal transformation. And in order for that to happen, you must master the 4 key levels of transformation that will open the doors to achieve the success, freedom, and impact you want and deserve. If any one of these levels is left out, it doesn't matter how hard you try to succeed, it won't matter. This is about your personal journey, how to get those essential things you need you so quickly can shift you into a state where ease and grace guide you to your greatest book and your greatest success. How to break through the noise that keeps you from writing your best book. Shift your focus from fear to faith in a matter of moments. Get beyond mindset to your most powerful and purposeful message. And experience freedom in every aspect of your writing journey. You are destined for greatness. If you have a dream of doing great things in your life as an author, but you're not yet having the impact you were born to have, you need to find inspiration that will reconnect with your big, beautiful dream of getting your book done and making a difference in the lives of thousands of people. How do you go from nowhere to everywhere in your journey from your starting point, being where you are now, to, well, let's think about how to eliminate negative talk, discover the greatness you're destined for, bust through your blocks to get your book done, impact more people through the power of you. How to unleash your potential as an author. Sounds a good topic, doesn't it? Many authors find themselves stuck on a hamster wheel, taking 2 steps forward and 3 steps backwards, never actually completing their book and sharing their message with the world. Chances are there's something deeper going on that is holding you back, something that your soul is yearning to release and heal so you can be set free. Let's look at learning about how to clear your karma, because that is what I would believe is keeping you stuck. Take some time to learn how to understand the impact karma has on your life, your book, and your business. Identify and clear the negative karma in your life. Break free from the patterns that keep you going in circles. Reveal your life's mission and take steps to live it. What about strategizing your book? I said this was step 2. How do you navigate the world of traditional publishing? Most authors dream of getting a publishing deal, a big advance, and seeing their books on the shelves of bookstores around the world. But do you have any idea what it takes to successfully navigate the world of traditional publishing, especially now that the publishing industry is undergoing massive changes? Think of how long and how many declines J.K. Rowling faced before she was given her book deal for the Harry Potter series and all that followed. That particular story is a great heart-warmer to myself. I live in hope. To get a publishing deal, an advance, and see your book in bookstores, you must first know what to do to increase the chances of this happening for you. This involves staying true to who you are, no matter what the market demands, to letting go of self-imposed expectations. Oops. Oh, I'm so sorry. I seem to have lost where I am. Can you still hear me, guys?
Yes.
My computer has completely frozen. Tony, I'm so sorry. I'm going to have to go freewheeling this, and I can't see any of you. So I think instead of going through that list, I'm going to perhaps talk about my own personal experience of writing my book. It came about, I'd been talking about writing a book for a long time. And the thing that finally got me moving to do it was was a pretty sad and devastating one. My husband died in 2016 in August, and I was coming up to my first Christmas without him. And I thought, you know, it was very, very sad, and I was grief-stricken and all of this. But not only was this my first Christmas without him, it was going to be my first new year, the first year that I was moving forward without him in any way in my life. And we'd been married for 46, nearly 47 years, 47 years all but a week. And that, it really made me take stock. And then the last thing was that I was about to be 70 in the July of 2017. So what am I going to do? And I thought, right, I've wanted to write a book for a long time now. So I think the thing to do is just do it. Get on and do it. If not now, when? And I couldn't come up with an answer to that. So I got in touch with a lady that I'd known for some time and admired for some time, Vicky Winterton. And I said to her what I was thinking of, and she encouraged me. And I'd already done a transformational book course with Christine Closer. And I had written, as I said, different bits and pieces for books. There were little, in writing journals, there was sort of a few, like 75 words, for example, that you could put as your inspirational quote at the top of one of the pages. And then the rest of the 2 pages was left for the person buying the book to write or journal in. So I'd done that a few times, and I'd written a chapter in Life Sparks, that was with a different publisher. And then I came back to Vicky and did a chapter in Ready, Aim, Thrive. And so I was aware of how helpful and how useful it was to get your name out there using the power of the books, even though they weren't all of my own creation. I was just a very tiny cog in their wheels. So this was quite a big step forward for me. And it was not as easy as I had thought it would be. You go into the bat cave and you're seriously thinking, what can I do now? What do I do now? I'd worked out the structure, what I wanted to say, and it was going to be about legacy. But what does that mean? And what does it mean to me? So I had to dig deep into that. And first of all, I had to say why I was writing the book in the first place. And to me, it was not only fulfilling the role of writing my book, but it was also a dedication to my late husband, acknowledging that because of him, he allowed me the space to grow into the person that I'd become. He had allowed me and given me the grace. He was amazing in letting me be as I wanted to be, and to learn as much as I wanted to learn. And for me, life is an ongoing learning process. So I had to explain that. And I had to explain also about how I came to like legacy and what it was about for me. And as a schoolgirl, I had been the charity monitor more times than most of the other members of the class. We had to rotate. But I enjoyed doing that. And I enjoyed seeing film clips of where the money we were raising was being sent and how it was helping other people around the world, in third world countries especially. So then I go into advertising, and I loved my advertising career. But when I met my husband and we were going to get married, he was a very high flyer, and he didn't want his wife to be working. And I had reached a level in my career, I was an account executive when women weren't account executives, and in advertising and in London, in a London agency. So I decided that if this marriage was going to work, one of us had to give up, and it had better be me, because I wasn't pulling in the same amount of money that he was. So, and I was going to mess up his tax accounts or whatever if I continued working. So I gave up work and we had Lara. And whilst I had been working, I dropped in on a friend having a coffee morning. I was between client and office. And because I was nearby, I dropped in, and I couldn't believe that she had all of the people around her, her neighbors, with their young children in. I'd never been exposed to that. So it was quite a shock to me to see all of these young mums with their children. And the thing that I most remember was as they were all leaving, they said, well, where are we meeting this afternoon? And they were all getting together again. And without being disrespectful to each of them, because I'm sure it was helpful to these ladies to be together, I realized, or I thought I realized, make it clear that it's my understanding, that they had nowhere else to be except with each other. And I determined that I didn't want, when I was married, to only be somewhere because I didn't have anywhere else to be. So when my opportunity came as a young mum, I was getting together with friends and doing charity events for different charities, in Imperial Cancer Research Fund, the Royal Lifeboats, the NSPCC, the RSPC, lots of different ones, Red Cross, and the war one, British Legion, Poppies. And so I found this very rewarding, and I was able to bring all of my advertising skills that I'd learnt from my work in the agency, all the creative things that I didn't know I had until I was working in the agency. All of this I could translate over to the charity work. And this grew and grew and grew. And then when my husband became surplus to requirements in the city, and I was suddenly, this is towards the end of his career in the, well, it was the end of his career in the city effectively, but it was towards his natural end of working life. I suddenly thought, well, what am I going to do? And I'd just come back from a recce in India to see whether we could transfer the skills that they were using in India. The colleges, one man that I'd met, Father Alphonse Xavier, had done the most amazing job in creating community colleges around the continent. And we wanted to see whether that would translate to the school that we were helping in Nairobi. We'd set up a little charity, a friend and I. And so this was when I switched on to a television program. I hope this isn't sounding too muddled. And I was listening to Ros Taylor, who is a clinical chartered psychologist. And I so admired the work that she was doing that it made me think that I wish I'd done that. And my daughter, very sweetly, found a website about coaching, sent me the link, and they had an open day, and I went along to the college, and that was how I became involved in coaching and mentoring and supervising. So she had seen that what I wanted to do, I believed I couldn't do because of my age and the time it would take to get to that position that Ros had in her life, being able to freelance the way she was and have clients in an open situation. That would have taken me forever from where I was standing at that moment. But coaching, it enabled me to have a similar impact without going into the therapy side of it all. And that was a great and most amazing revelation, that I could still help people and do it my way. So the book, getting back to what we're talking about, is the realization of all that learning and how everything that I've gone through in life has helped me to become a better coach by being there at the bottom of the pile as well as being at the top of the pile. It being at the bottom of the pile especially enabled me to understand how some of my clients would be feeling and be able to empathize with them. So that was a great revelation and a great learning. And to bring this into the book, this was what I wanted to achieve. So we'd laid down the foundations in the book of how the book came about and the fact that it was going to be my journey of contribution. And then, because it was about legacy, I felt you needed to be in a unique place of also living your own life in integrity and authenticity and being the best you that you can. I hope that doesn't sound too preachy, because that is not what I'm intending at all. But if you are living your own best life, this is what you are able to give to your family, by example, and you're giving it to your friends and anybody who comes into your circle, sharing it with your clients. And so I thought nurture would be part 2 of the book. So I looked into all the different ways there are of nurturing self. And I've already mentioned earlier in the talk about karma. So here I thought I would take that further and look at Eastern as well as Western roots. And I looked at chakras. And because rainbows have been so important to me in my life, I looked at the chakra system and how the colors of the chakra were the same as the rainbow, and how all of those colors made up white light. And I then started reflecting on this and how important it was to have all of that in harmony. So this was the second part of my book. And then going on from there, I went into the do part. How are you going to do your, whatever your thing is? What is your contribution going to be? What is your legacy going to be? And we're all leaving a legacy as we walk through life, whether we want to or not. It's an immutable fact. That's what we do. Our presence here on earth makes that a fact. So I've found ways, I hope, to encourage. I've shared my own story a little bit more, and I've tried to share what people can do, the readers can do, to find ways to contribute themselves, given them various opportunities. And I think that more or less covers the 3 stages of the book. Sending it off was a nightmare. I delayed for so long, I cannot even begin to tell you. It was supposed to be published in October of 2017. And not that I procrastinate, you must understand, that is a forbidden word. However, it didn't happen in October 17. And it still hasn't happened when it was supposed to be maybe December 17. So here we are coming up to May next month. And I'm hoping, now that I've actually sent it off, that I'm still in time to fulfill my publisher's deadline that she gave me of May. It may need to have a little more tweaking. I'm not quite sure yet. But I've at least sent it over in its final format as far as I'm concerned. And that was an exhilarating, as well as once I pressed the button, scary moment. So Tony, I don't know how I'm doing on time, because as I say, I have no screen, I've no clock, nothing. So if I've done enough and fulfilled my mission here, I do have a gift for everyone. And I do hope that everybody's found it interesting and that they will want to find out more. My gift is called Your Story, Your Brand. And I did put the address into the chat earlier. So I don't know whether you'd be able to pull that up and say something about, give some details about it, or even send it out maybe when you're contacting everybody. But I hope that people will be interested. It's about creating your own signature from your own life story and how that is so important. So I'll hand it back to you, Tony, and say thank you very much.
Well, and I thank you. See, I'm here.
Yeah, I can't see you, so I don't know, honey.
Okay.
That was really scary. That was so scary to lose my script. That'll teach me.
That's all right. So does anyone have any questions for Susie? Or any questions in general?
I don't have a question. This is Inez. I don't have a question for Susie, but I'm really love the way you said use your story to write your book. That is amazing, because we all have a story we'd like to tell. We just don't know how to get started. And congratulations on pushing the button.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Congratulations. I know how difficult it is. And you're sort of taking a different approach than some of the other speakers. You actually went the traditional route as opposed to self-publishing. So I'm going to ask you to stick around. We've got one more speaker. Stick around, and then we're going to do a virtual panel discussion, because I want to hear a little bit more about what that process was, because we don't often hear, everybody's self-publishing now, and so we don't often hear what other people are doing or how they're doing it, and that's it. So if you could hang out a little bit longer,
it's my pleasure too.
I would certainly appreciate it. Thank you.
I hope I filled the time slot, Tony. I don't know how I was doing.
You did beautifully. I appreciate it. Any other questions, comments before we move on? All right, so I'm going to stop the recording.